Hello, my name is Sandra Orlando Payne, and I'm the owner and director of an architecture practice based in Windsor, and the name of the company is Inhabitat Design Studios. So, as an architect and the director of an architecture practice, we work on three areas. So we work in one area where we work with domestic clients. So that's when we do residential work for people who own their own properties and would like either to refurbish it, extend it, or build a new property on their own site. We also work with developers. These are people that will acquire a site or a property for the purpose of developing it, building new houses or commercial developments, and either selling it on or letting it. So we call this a commercial area of our work. And we also work with schools and charities where we provide a service looking at what is possible for their buildings to achieve. We help them through the funding process. A lot of the time, they don't have their funding yet. So we take them through the process of initiating their project and through the planning applications for the viability of the project. So this will be mainly working with community groups, charities, and educational entities. So as a day job, what I do is mainly work with my clients on a one-to-one, understanding their projects, and also with my team. I have a team of 3 architects and assistants, and basically we work on the projects, which entails drawings, talking to people that are involved in the project in terms of specifications, in terms of planning legislation. There is an element of design, which is what I enjoy the most, but that is a portion of the work I do. We do a lot of work that is more in terms of research and more involved in terms of preparing documentations for the properties. Architecture is a very broad career in the sense that you, as an architect, can do what I do to run your own practice, or you could work for another practice, but you can also work on the world of research and academia. So if you're looking at becoming an architect, there are things that you could focus on. For example, history and art history, for example, and that will take you more into the academia side of architecture. There's also the practical side of architecture, which is construction, and that is got to do a lot with understanding volumes and space and structure, and that relates more to physics and mathematics. So if that's the way you are inclined, that could also lead you into architecture. And the third area would be obviously design, drawing by hand, as well as drawing on our computers. And of course, it's technology. We need to know how to use several drawing programs. If you want to start trying drawing programs, there is one specific one that is actually free for students, so you can download as a student. It's called SketchUp, and SketchUp will allow you to draw to scale, and will also allow you to work with volumes and space. And basically, it's very intuitive. It's very easy to learn. But it also, we use it in practice because it's like making a model, but making a model on your computer rather than with bits of cardboard. And then the ones that we use day in, day out for drawing plans is called AutoCAD. There are some free versions as well and trial version. So AutoCAD will be a good one to start, even though it is more complex and there are layers and things to understand, but there are plenty of tutorials. There is ArchiCAD as well. That is more complex because it combines the 2D and the 3D, and it's not so intuitive. But if you're really into that, ArchiCAD will be a good program. So the typical working hours for a junior architect, they tend to be office hours. So we start 9 and we finish at 5. Sometimes if we have to finish and present work the next day, some people may stay late, until 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Occasionally, because we work with clients and their homes, often people are at work during work hours, so we may have to visit them on a Saturday morning. Usually that's not done by junior architects. Usually that's done by me as the owner of the practice or one of our senior architects. But occasionally it may be that they want to come as well. There are some evening meetings, and as you get more senior, you find that sometimes you have to attend. You may find that you need to go to the council offices, and those meetings for planning may last until 10 o'clock at night. But it's very occasional. It is quite free form in the way that you choose your working hours once you become more senior. But when you start in a practice, when you are a young architect, you can stick to normal office hours mostly. Skills we look at when we look at people's CVs and we interview assistants for the practice, we tend to expect someone that has a sort of rounded interest as an architect, or that is not only interested in drawing and nothing else, or is only interested in research and nothing else. We also look at people that are flexible, in the sense that if we need to make coffee for a meeting, someone that will willingly say so. I make coffee for meetings myself. It's not that we ask people to do everything, but flexibility, to be friendly, to be to have good telephone manners, to be organized, to understand the filing system. All the information that we produce has to be filed and stored in a way that we can go back to it as and when we need it. So we expect someone to be organized and to keep track of the time spent on the different projects and so on. We want everyone to have a little bit of proficiency on all the different aspects of what we do. And we do train people in the office. Architecture is not a career that you learn at university and you come into practice and you know it all. It's a career that you are learning for a long time. The best place to contact is the RIBA. So it's a RIBA, they are the Royal Institute of British Architects. You can become a member as a student affiliate. There's also the ARB, that is the Architects Registration Board. They are a little bit less open, but you can still get information from their website and check out what are the requirements to be registered as an architect in this country. There are many magazines online. A magazine that I love is called Design, and it has a lot of information about what avant-garde or what new architects or young new architects are doing. There is a Building Design magazine, and that has got a lot of information on more practical elements of architecture and legislation. So in terms of looking for work, once you do your part one, say, and you've done your first 2 years and you want to do your year out, we tend to look for people or staff through social media a lot. We use LinkedIn. The good thing about LinkedIn is that it will allow you also to research architecture practices that you may want to approach. We get CVs sent directly by applicants all the time. There is another thing that you can do when you're researching where you would like to work. You could go to Facebook. Most practices will have a Facebook page. The Facebook page will have information and posts about the day-to-day life in the practice. So if you go to our Inhabitat Design Studios Facebook, you will see us working, meeting clients on site, even things that we do Sometimes we meet for a birthday at a weekend. There are some recruitment agencies as well, so this is a more formal process, but you may want to go that route. Hayes Montrose, there is one based in Reading, and then is Adrem. Adrem is London-based, but they will also look at jobs outside Greater London and the South East. So my advice for someone who wants to become an architect in the future would be that expect to study for many years. It is a very long career that you don't finish in 2 or 3 years. You have your first 2 years and then you need a year out when you will work as a part one architecture assistant. And then after your year out, you do another 3 years and you become a part two architectural assistant. You're still not an architect after 6 years of working. You can only register as an architect after you finish your part three, which will be while you're working in practice. You are still studying and doing your final year in architecture. So after 7 years, you become an architect. You have to be someone that really embraces this profession. It is a way of life. It's not something that you do and you park at the end of the day and you go back the next day. If you have a project in your mind, it will be with you day and night. Obviously, you won't be working, but you will be thinking. So you're going to breathe and eat and think architecture all the time. So you have to really love what you do.